It's been very apparent, your frustrations, your anger, your disappointment. But what we've never heard is that the fact that,
In a twist no fan saw coming, and that shook the emotional core of the Sister Wives universe. Janelle Brown, once the quiet pillar of patience and practicality, stepped back into Kody Brown's unraveling world, not with rage or vengeance, but with an offer-a-conditional lifeline wrapped in years of betrayal, longing, heartbreak, and cold realizations. After months of eerie silence, shattered trust, and the emotional wreckage Kody left behind with every one of his wives and children not named Robyn. He found himself dialing Janelle's number in the dead of night, his voice trembling, stripped of bravado, and soaked in the panic of a man finally realizing the consequences of choices he swore were rooted in love, faith, and leadership, but were ultimately built on ego, favoritism, and illusion. This wasn't just any call. Kody was broken utterly, publicly, devastatingly broken. His finances were gone, his wives had left, and most of his children wanted nothing to do with him. The house he once viewed as his kingdom, the place where he and Robyn had walled themselves off while the rest of the family frayed at the edges, was now on the brink of foreclosure. Tears streamed down his face, and pride no longer served him. Desperation had taken its place. But if he expected sympathy without self-awareness, he had misjudged Janelle. Janelle, who had spent years shouldering burdens without complaint, who had lived modestly while Robyn ordered new furnishings and private school tuition, who had stood by Kody even when her own children were pushed aside in favor of Robyn's she, wasn't the same woman anymore. Gone was the loyal wife who rationalized and minimized his betrayals. What stood now was a woman forged in fire, wearied by sacrifice, but emboldened by clarity. She listened to Kody, let him weep, and in a voice steadier than it had ever been, she said, "I might help you, but not like this, not if nothing changes." And then she dropped a condition that stunned Kody into silence. Robyn and her children had to vacate the house, permanently. Not later, not gradually, immediately. If Kody wanted even a cent of her financial assistance, the enmeshment with Robyn had to end. No more preferential treatment. No more coddling. No more pretending that the chaos they were all drowning in was anything but a direct result of Kody's refusal to set boundaries with the woman who, in many ways, had become a wedge between him and the rest of his family. For years, Robyn had painted herself as the peacemaker, but Janelle saw through it. She had watched Robyn manipulate, isolate, and reroute family funds to benefit herself and her children while the others were left scrambling. She had witnessed Kody, blinded by guilt, attraction, or delusion, turn his back on the family unit he once claimed to treasure. And now, the house of cards had collapsed and Janelle wasn't about to help him rebuild it using the same flawed blueprint. "You chose her," she told him flatly. "And now look where that got you." Her tone wasn't cruel, it was resolute. Kody didn't argue. He didn't plead. Didn't even flinch. For the first time in years, he sat in silence, the weight of his actions finally landing on his shoulders like bricks. Kay whispered that she was right, that everything she said was true. He admitted that Robyn had convinced him the others were against him, that Christine was toxic, that Janelle was ungrateful, that Mary was bitter. And he believed it because it was easier than confronting how he had failed each of them in unique, devastating ways. "I thought she was helping me hold the family together," he said, voice shaking. "But she was helping me tear it apart." The truth, once buried under years of denial, favoritism, and emotional avoidance, now rose to the surface, undeniable and suffocating. The financial picture was even more grim than viewers could have imagined. For years, TLC fans speculated that the Browns were living beyond their means, but no one knew the full extent. Kody confessed to Janelle that they were buried deeply. The mortgage was months overdue, property taxes unpaid. Multiple LLCs they had started were dissolved or floundering. Legal fees, especially tied to Coyote Pass and internal property disputes, had drained them dry. And while everyone else downsized, hustled, and budgeted Janelle in a tiny rental, Christine working part-time just to stay afloat, and Mary quietly running a small business, Robyn continued to live lavishly. Designer furniture, artisanal decor, name-brand clothing for her children, trips under the guise of mental health, private tutors, luxury SUVs. Kody tried to downplay it once, calling it stability for Robyn's children, but now he was being forced to reckon with the truth. He enabled an imbalance so massive that it fractured the family entirely. Janelle, hearing all this, didn't cry. She didn't shout. She laid it all out with surgical clarity. If Kody wanted her help, wanted her to dip into her retirement, her savings, her hard-earned resources, came with strings. Robyn would be removed from the financial equation permanently. No access to communal funds, no co-signing, no shared assets. She would need to leave the house within 30 days. And Kody would need to issue a public, transparent accounting of the family's finances, not just to her, but to their children, especially the boys who had long felt abandoned, unwanted, and unsupported by the man who once promised them a life of unity and purpose. Kody listened, not as a patriarch demanding loyalty, but as a man who had hit rock bottom. And when he returned home to Robyn with Janelle's ultimatum in hand, the house that once felt like a palace of privilege became a war zone of accusation and reality. Robyn, shocked by the shift in Kody's demeanor, refused to accept what she was hearing. She lashed out, accusing Janelle of manipulation, claiming the other wives had turned Kody against her, insisting she had done nothing wrong. But Kody didn't flinch this time. He told her flatly that he now saw how she had subtly, over years, driven wedges between him and his children. How she would whisper that others didn't respect him, that they only cared about money, that they undermined him, and how he, believing her, withdrew. And in that withdrawal, he abandoned the people who had built him. "You drained me," he told her. Financially, emotionally, as a father, as a man. He said Janelle was right, that he had been blind. Maybe he was finally seeing things clearly. And Robyn, caught without her usual armor of deniability and Kody's blind loyalty, cracked. She screamed, she cried, she denied. But Kody didn't budge. He said he had to do what was right for once, not what was comfortable. He owed his children more. He owed his former wives more. And maybe, just maybe, he owed himself a clean slate. In the days that followed, insiders revealed that Robyn did in fact begin quietly packing, that a moving truck was spotted, that legal documents were filed to separate financial assets, that Kody had contacted several of his older children, some for the first time in years, and began apologizing. One of the most shocking developments. He allegedly called Gabriel and Garrison's mother, Janelle, just to say, "I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know I'm trying." Fans of the show have taken to social media in shock, some skeptical of Kody's sincerity, others moved by his apparent awakening. But one thing is clear, this moment marks a tectonic shift in the Brown family saga. What happens next will redefine their legacy. Will Kody truly rebuild? Will Robyn disappear into the background, or fight back with a vengeance? Will Janelle truly help him? Or is this simply a test to see if he's finally ready to choose accountability over favoritism? As TLC cameras allegedly begin documenting this new phase, viewers brace themselves for a season unlike any other, a season not defined by plural marriage, but by what happens when a man who lost it all is forced to choose between the life he clung to and the family he abandoned. For Janelle, this isn't about revenge, it's about justice. It's about drawing a line. It's about finally seeing if Kody Brown, the man she once loved, raised children with, defended endlessly, can finally become the father, the man, the human being he always claimed to be. The era of illusions is over. And for the first time, Kody is standing without a shield. The question is, Will he rise or collapse completely under the weight of the truth? Stay tuned to Star Spill USA for every emotional turn, every whispered revelation, and every painful reckoning as the dust finally settles on the Brown family's greatest collapse yet.
I think you and I would have to be different people.
In some regards, especially coming from the culture that we come from, he's a failure to have lost all his marriages.
In the most emotionally devastating chapter yet of the Sister Wives saga, one that has sent shockwaves across social media, split fans across generations, and cracked open years of silent resentment, Robyn Brown, the woman long accused of being the wedge in the one sacred Brown family, has finally left the home she shared with Kody Brown. Not with grace or accountability, but in tears, bitterness, and fury. Initially, Robyn had refused to go. With her voice trembling, she told Kody that she and the kids had nowhere to go, nowhere to land after giving everything for the illusion of their shared future. She reminded him that she sacrificed friendships, independence, and stability too. Be with him, believing in the dream of family that he preached. But Kody had made up his mind, fueled by months of emotional unraveling, financial devastation, and a long overdue wake-up call from Janelle Brown. Kody informed Robyn, stone-faced and resolved, that he had already spoken to a lawyer. Financial assistance would be cut by the end of the month, no more shared bank accounts, no more family funds funneled into boutique decor, private school tuition, or emotional manipulation. And just like that, Robyn packed her bags in silence, tears streaming down her face as she led her children out of the house they had once called home. They found temporary refuge with extended family, but the damage had been done. The queen had fallen, and the kingdom had noticed. The news of the dramatic showdown between Kody and Robyn spread faster than wildfire through the Brown family network, and the emotional ripple effects were immediate. For years, Kody's older children had watched in silence as their father slowly, but surely shifted his loyalty, affection, and resources to Robyn and her children. For them, this wasn't justice. This was long-awaited vindication. Several of the children allegedly reached out to Janelle, not to Kody, to thank her. Thank her for standing her ground. Thank her for demanding accountability. Thank her for doing what no one else could do. Face Kody's delusion head-on and force him to choose between his golden pedestal and the messy, painful reality he had ignored for years. They've resented him for a long time, said one family, confidant to Star Spill USA. They felt like they didn't exist the moment Robyn came into the picture. Now, for the first time in forever, some of them think there's a tiny crack in that wall. Maybe they can reach him again. Maybe there's still hope, but not everyone is convinced. Mary Brown, the first wife, the one who had weathered the longest storms of emotional neglect and spiritual erasure, wasn't so quick to forgive. When Kody reached out to Mary, likely expecting the door to be flung open, expecting unconditional love to greet him like a prodigal husband, he was met with a wall of steel. Mary, who had spent over 2 decades trying to be seen, trying to matter, told him bluntly, "Don't come crawling back just because you finally hit bottom." According to family insiders, she warned him that words weren't enough anymore. Change, real change, would need to be proven over time. And though she wasn't willing to offer her heart again, Mary reportedly confessed it felt satisfying to finally see Robyn face consequences for her role in the family's devastation. Meanwhile, Christine Brown, now basking in the stability and joy of her new marriage to David Woolley, had a more supportive but stern response. She contacted Janelle directly and told her how proud she was, proud of her courage, proud of her self-worth, proud that after years of living in the shadows of loyalty and faith, she had finally chosen herself. But Christine had a warning too. Don't let him play on your kindness again. He needs to focus on the kids now. This family has bled long enough. With Robyn gone, Kody began to pick up the splintered remains of his life. Desperation turned to reflection. Reflection to action. He began reaching out one by one, to His older children, apologies, remorse, explanations. He retained a financial advisor. Rumors swirled that he was looking to sell off portions of his real estate empire, possibly even part of the now cursed Coyote Pass land. But one question lingered like smoke over a long-burned fire. Was it too late? Some of the kids welcomed the outreach, others held back. One of his daughters allegedly told a family friend, "It's not about Robyn anymore. It's about years of not being seen, not being heard." That kind of pain doesn't disappear overnight just because he cried once and said sorry. In a rare public gesture, Kody and Janelle issued a joint statement via Starspill USA. It read, "We know we've let a lot of people down. We've made mistakes and we're trying to make things right. We're grateful for the support during both the highs and the lows. We're committed to healing and moving forward." Fans around the world lit up the internet with reactions, some hopeful, others furious. But for the first time in years, there was something that resembled a bridge being rebuilt, no matter how fragile. Robyn, however, has remained silent. Her future with Kody remains in limbo. Some sources say she's preparing to fight for her place in the family. Others whispered that she's already planning a new start elsewhere, free from the judgment, the guilt, and the weight of what she destroyed. Perhaps one of the most shocking turns came not from Kody, Janelle, or Christine, but from Meri. After everything, after years of being shamed on national television, of being told she was nothing more than a friend, of being emotionally still came to Kody's side during his darkest night. One of the Brown children allegedly called her, begging her to check in on him. Kody was drinking, crying, hollowed out. Robyn had locked herself in her room, and Meri, unable to bear the image of a man once loved spiraling into oblivion, showed up. Not to rekindle, not to rebuild, but to offer human comfort. She sat with him for hours. No lectures, no condemnation, just presence. And when he finally broke, sobbing about regrets and time lost, she held his hand and listened. But this act of mercy didn't sit well with everyone, least of all Robyn. While Meri was downstairs offering compassion, Robyn allegedly remained barricaded upstairs. Not a greeting, not a thank you, not even eye contact. Cold silence. When Kody tried to explain Meri's intentions, Robyn snapped, accused Meri of playing the martyr, trying to make herself look good. Of being unwelcome, Kody, for once, pushed back. He told Robyn she had no right to act that way. That Meri, for all her pain, had shown more grace than anyone in the house. And that she had every right to be there. For the first time in years, Kody stood up for Meri. Robyn wasn't pleased. The fallout continued. Janelle, upon hearing of the confrontation, expressed admiration for Meri's strength, but also warned her. "You're better than both of them," she said, according to sources, "but don't let that kindness be used against you again." Christine was less forgiving. "Why are you still helping him?" she reportedly asked. "It's never going to change, and Robyn will never let him go." The Brown children were similarly torn. Some praised Meri's compassion. Others begged her to stay out of it, fearing the same painful cycle would repeat. One insider noted, "They've seen her hurt too many times. They don't want her destroyed again." And as for Kody, his collapse is no longer theory. It's fact. The fortune, gone. The relationships crumbled. The reputation, in ruins. The family, scattered. And in the center of the wreckage stands a man trying to put the pieces back together with hands that once broke it all apart. Robyn is gone. The wives have moved on. The children are divided. And Kody, once the polygamous patriarch of America's most famous spiritual family, is now just a man flawed, frail, and facing the truth at last. Whether it's too late or not, only time will tell. Stay locked into Starspill USA for the next explosive chapter.